to be clear, it is plausible, very, very, very small minority of people who are literally born hermaphrodites.
Yeah,
You're
it's
correct.
a small percentage.
That is considered a genetic anomaly, right? So something goes wrong and you can be born with two parts. That something has gone wrong.
But why can't it just be right for that
Yeah,
person?
because I feel like wrong is
well, genetic
wrong's an
anomalies
interesting
happen.
one.
Like if everything
But
goes
isn't that
right,
God?
Like if me and her was attached together, are we wrong?
See,
well,
I
yeah,
feel
but
like
that is also when
yes,
something goes wrong. This is
Siamese.
why like Siamese twins, and they have to have these surgeries, and their organs can be mixed, and it's a
I don't
risk.
think wrong
It
is
is,
the
but
right
something
word, though.
goes wrong when somebody is born
But why is
intersex.
it wrong? Because
I don't think
it's
it's
like,
wrong.
but
I
we
think
all
it's just
believe.
unique.
Yeah, we all believe that
I
God
seen a
created
snake and it had
us.
two heads.
But I feel like that could also
Or a cow
be
and
that's
had two
God's
heads together.
creation. Because I'm
not saying the person being alive is wrong. I am saying that genetically speaking, there are tons of things that can go wrong. It's like, people, when something happens because of who you're married to and your genes are lining up in a different way, and some people can be born
special.
Yeah.
Blind in one eye.
Yeah.
This, there are tons of things.
One of my dogs was blind, but he was moving around.
People are born different.
He was biting people.
Okay, but that is not, intersex is not transgenderism, because transgenderism, everything has gone just right. And at some point in that person's life, they just make a decision to say that I want to start living as this opposite sex that I was not born as. And that is why I say this is a mental disorder, okay? I don't view an intersex person as having a mental disorder.
But I
view a transgendered individual as having a mental disorder. And I'll ask you a question. Is Rachel Dolezal black?
Pardon?
Is Rachel Dolezal black? Rachel Dolezal, if you're not familiar, is the woman who was wearing dark makeup and was leading the NAACP, had grown her hair out kinky into an afro, and then it turned out that her parents spoke out, and she's basically as white as they come, and she just was dressing every day as a black person and passing as black and leading the NAACP.
Yeah.
But there's a reason it shuts everything down, because it's not a tricky question. Like literally in 4 seconds, Rachel Dolezal said that she was black, that she lived this way. She had a great job at the NAACP fighting for black causes. Suddenly her parents speak out. Everyone can see that her parents are very white. And then they showed a picture of Rachel Dolezal. It turns out this is like a blonde-haired Scottish girl. I mean,
what if she was around black people for all her life?
Well, that's my point, right? So, and the reason why you guys are struggling to answer this is because what it does is it presents.
I'm not struggling.
Yeah, you said Rachel Dolezal is not black.
Yeah, she's not black, and also
so
I feel like it's
but if she
sitting
said
here,
she was black,
but
she's black.
Yeah, okay.
And would I disrespect
just like if I want to be called Killer Poom Poom,
so
y'all gotta call me the name I want.
At least you're being consistent. You're not being consistent. So at least you're saying that yes, any person can just say whatever they are, and we have to accept it. If they feel deep down and they went through middle school and they felt that they were black, then we have to suddenly pretend.
I'm not saying that I would disrespect her for saying, like, I wouldn't be like, you're not, because to be honest, that's got nothing to do with me. But if you ask the question, it is costuming. And that's going back to what we said before, which is a major issue, is that the lines get blurred because of being a costume, and trans is not a costume. It's not a cloak. When I take this off, is that, but the thing is, once again, it still comes down to the individual scenario, and that is what it is. Because I want to say that the thing that I get thrown at me all the time, which people obviously think hurts me, and it doesn't, it's laughable, is people are like, okay, you say you're trans, well, I'm a unicorn or I'm a cloud. I mean, it's ridiculous. How is it comparable?
Well,
okay.
We do currently have children that are saying that they are trans species, so that's a reality. There are kids that are saying that they're cats, that they're dogs.
We have to respect it.
At least you're being ideologically consistent. At least you're being consistent.
And that's fair. I'm not saying he's wrong.
But you said Rachel Dolezal wasn't black.
Because but what I'm saying is
we are living in a society where we have rules.
But what's interesting even about that, to show how everyone is so unique, is I don't even have gender dysphoria anymore, because I don't ever feel or walk around feeling like a guy. So see how it's so
like gender dysphoria.
So gender dysphoria.
We're all getting educated.
So gender dysphoria is when trans people feel dysphoric about like their gender. So in the sense of a trans woman being like, oh my God, I feel, manly today. I feel like a guy, I feel like blah, 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 and it brings them down. And that's what causes feelings of distress. And that's why it's not considered a disorder, because it's a feeling of anxiety about that thing about you. But for me to double on that, I'm like, but I don't wake up and ever see a guy feel like a guy, so I don't have gender dysphoria. So everything and every individual is different. And that's why I'll always preach that point. But it's not a disorder. I don't have a mental disorder. Like, I don't even think about this on a day-to-day basis, but I am willing to come to the forefront and speak about trans rights and transness because I am. But I always want to show people worldwide that you can clearly see we're all different and we have different backgrounds.
Like, I wish some of the guys that you know, that are like in love and infatuated in this relationship, I wish they would come out and be like, yo, this is what it is. Because some of them are my friends. And I'm like, whenever you feel like it, but you not wrong. And I'm not going to say nothing to none of the homies, but y'all got to speak up too and just come out and love and hug.
Trans love is that like a zero.
And show the compatibility with what y'all like and what's going on in the real world.
Yeah. So I just want to go way back because I do feel there was this intentional speeding through the Rachel Dolezal point before we get to the psychological, which there's a reason why the APA, which is in charge of psychology, is even commenting on this issue because they know that it's a psychiatric issue or they wouldn't have to comment on it. So Rachel Dolezal, I want to go back to that because this is a very important point, and I do feel you're pedaling past because you realize this. It's
I know who
this
that
is
I don't know.
This is how.
Back
Okay, well, it doesn't matter. Let's say any individual.
Yeah.
This is an individual who is committed and living as a Black person when in fact they were born with parents that are whiter than snow.
So nobody was Black.
No, nobody, not even a
similar,
drop
I think,
of, not even like.
Ancestry didn't say
I'm
nowhere.
pretty sure I've seen this on like Botched or something.
A Spanish song probably never got listened to. A Spanish song. There's not even a drop.
I know among the lines of what you're talking about because I think I've seen it on Botched or whatever. Instantly said, and have held to the point that Rachel Dolezal is not a Black person. So if Rachel Dolezal is not a Black person but believes that she is a Black person on the inside, what is Rachel Dolezal suffering from? So for me personally, like I will say once again, because I don't know her story, but based on what you're telling me, I will go back to the point every time that what it sounds like is that she's costuming. That's what it is to me. If Rachel believes she's Black, that's not only not my place to comment on. I don't know that girl, so it doesn't bother me. But if someone doesn't believe in what she's doing is right, if it's publicized or whatever, that's their opinion. But do I think that she has a mental disorder? My answer is, who am I to even comment on that?
Yeah,
because
like,
I'm not a psychologist.
Let me just finish.
I have no idea.
Okay. I agree with you about Rachel Dolezal. She is costuming.
Right.
But does she have a mental disorder?
Yeah.
If you are living your life as something that you are not, and you believe inside of you that you are this, she's not hurting anybody, but she is suffering from a mental disorder. Okay. And now this is where things get tricky. So you and Rachel Dolezal are actually embodying the exact same thing, right? Both of you believe.
Please don't put me in that box.
But that anybody watching this is going, this is a very valid point. Both of you believe that you are something that you are not, and you have gone through extremities to live as something that you are not. You're not, but this is a costume, and that's my point. Everything you are saying to Rachel Dolezal, you could say to yourself, right? Rachel Dolezal could share a story. Let me just get this out. Rachel Dolezal could share a story and say, from the time I was a kid when I was 4, my mom looked down at me and said that you were showing characteristics of being Black. And then when I was in school, everyone was like, Rachel, kind of like, one of the Black
she was kind of thick too, right?
Yeah, Rachel was kind of thick.
That's what I'm saying. I remember. No, I do. I like okay.
You got you seem like a Black girl. And then next thing you know, Rachel at 17 years old was going to Christian school and was like, you know what? I'm ready to do the first thing. And so Rachel went and got her hair cornrowed.
So she said she was mixed.
She got her hair cornrowed.
She
said she was mixed.
No, and then she started wearing the makeup, getting tanned, all this stuff. And then next thing you know, Rachel Dolezal fully believed.
Right.
And so I'm out here like, justice for Rachel Dolezal, because if you're out here saying that you're a woman, then Rachel Dolezal has every right to be a Black person. And the reason why Rachel Dolezal, that case study makes you uncomfortable is because it hits the truth. It hits an objective reality, which is that you cannot just say because you're willing to get surgery or because you're willing to do your hair a certain way or that you're willing to wear makeup that you are something that you're not. Now, that said, I don't have an issue. Like, there's nothing that you're doing. And I think that this is where it gets mixed up, where people pretend there's some attack happening or we're saying that, you need to be put into camps. No, I think actually you're a very nice person. you're just not a woman, and you're never going to be a woman.
And I know that.
Right, exactly.
And that's why I wanted to make that point. But people weaponize that. See, people love being like, you're not a woman. And I'm like, yeah, cool, great point. I agree. And then where do they go? Because see, they're weaponizing it because they want to put us down like, you're not a real girl, you never will be. Yeah, I'm aware. I have a mother and 3 sisters. Like, I'm well aware.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that.
Right.
And I love the way I am. And even with Rachel, to go back to your point, if Rachel wants to be that way, go ahead, girl, get your life.
That's what I'm saying.
But see, so it's not me being contradictory,
but
because
it would be...
the question is yes, I feel she's costumey, but girl, get your life. If you want to do that, do it. But it always comes back to us being delusional, but we're not. We know we're not biological women, so it's scored.
And then see, now we can
the
all be friends.
Reality.
We can all go out and
I want to ask you a question, because I actually find your energy like, like I feel like you're a strong woman, you're wise, you're intellectual, and I actually get good energy off you. I'm like an energy kind of gal, and I want to ask you, I know it's only been a short time, but us conversing, and I can tell you're listening when I'm talking about my upbringing and stuff. Do you see me as like a woman, a trans woman and stuff, or do you see me as like he and like a costume?
I think that you're wearing a costume.
Okay.
And
do you see me as a boy, or do you see
woman?
me as a trans woman?
I mean,
or do you think I'm a feminine boy?
I just think that we've adopted these words. I think that you have gender dysphoria.
Right.
You feel happier in this.
I'm more meaning physicality, because obviously you've listened.
Any person, I could get Ray J. I mean, makeup.
Oh, no way, right?
No, but I'm saying, like, you could. Have you seen X-Men? I mean, Charlize Theron, in makeup, you can present as a
physicality, but even without makeup, like I can get photos and sent to you with me with no makeup, no editing, whatever. I'm more mean like in the sense, because this is also a huge topic that, and in the trans community, we call it being real or being passable. Those are just like street languages. And it doubles back to the fact that I don't sit on a couch at a restaurant or at a bus stop or whatever and be like trans or whatever. I actually pass as a biological female. So then it becomes my responsibility to every day educate people that I am trans. And that's usually out of respect, because I like to be honest with men. I don't like to, deceive anyone or lie or whatever. But my thing is if we were having a conversation and it wasn't about this and we were just vibing, or if I went to your church and stuff, like, you're not looking at me as like a boy or like Ray and glam.
Well, to be fair, I since I knew you were coming here, I feel like it's not a fair question to ask, because, but to be clear, there are tons of, especially today, you could literally look at somebody on the internet and never know that they lived as the opposite sex.
Yeah.
And that's or that they were born as the sex that they're not presenting, rather, is the better way to say it. But to me, I don't know, like, for me, I think that it's just dishonesty. Do you know what I mean?
If you're not being honest.
If you're not being
like
honest.
When I,
but if you are like me.
Like one time, and I ain't never told nobody this, but I put on a wig one time, right?
Yo.
And so when I put on the wig, because I was trying to get into this other character, so I put on the wig, I looked in the mirror and I went, oh my God, and I was attracted to me.
Yo.
So I took the
Ray
wig
is
off real
the
fast,
key.
and I went, what just happened?
He was in character.
I didn't know what happened, but I was
it's true though,
because I had it on and I went like that because it was in my eye. So I went like that and I took it off because I was attracted to me.
Yo.
And I love me, but I didn't know I loved me like that. Like, I look good. So I never did it again.
Okay, I'm so happy that you shared that.
I don't know why, but I felt like it's good to just be vulnerable here. But yeah, that's what happened to me.
This is a safe space.
Parents are losing their parental rights. Parental rights, they are losing it because of not failing to affirm a kid for transgenderism. And take a look here. This is clip number 8. This is so sad.
Here's another example of how gender ideology is destroying families and parental rights. A Washington, D.C. family lose custody of their autistic son, 16, after refusing to let him transition to a girl. A parent's worst nightmare didn't begin as one. This was just a normal military family that was homeschooling their son and decided to put him in public high school. But as we know, all it takes is just 1 year of indoctrination, and this boy back in May of 2021 told his friends that he was LGBT, but in no way suggested that he wanted to be a girl. during the same time that he was diagnosed with autism and going through some counseling services. In November of that same year, he attempted to take his own life after a horrible breakup with his ex-girlfriend. That's when his parents decided to take him to the Children's National Hospital. This lovely hospital, one of the top 5 pediatric hospitals in the country that also treats kids with gender dysphoria, thought a 16-year-old autistic boy who came in after trying to end his own life really just has gender dysphoria. So clearly they had to keep him in the hospital for an extra 41 days. What's that word that starts with an E when you're willing to give medical procedures that sterilize to people with disabilities? Once diagnosed, the staff of the hospital informed the parents that their son wanted to be a female and should be referred to with she/her pronouns. This is when the parents became convinced that the hospital staff was on a campaign to transition their child, especially when their son has never shown any signs of wanting to be female or stating to be female in the past until he goes into a hospital that just so happens to have a gender and autistic program that of course teaches kids with autism about their gender. Coupled with the fact that he wrote letters to his friends disavowing his previous male identity, this is clear signs of mental reprogramming. Once the hospital staff realized that these parents will not let them transition their child, they reported them to Child Protective Services, and the poor boy ended up in foster care. The son was then sent to a foster mom who just so happened to be best friends with the non-gendered hospital chaplain, Lavender Kelly, who was in full support of children transitioning. While being in the care of the foster mom, he went from a boy who graduated high school at 15 onto an associate in engineering to someone posting provocative photos all over Instagram and ending up having another incident of trying to take his life back in July in 2022, where he was admitted to the same hospital, but this time as a girl. Shortly after the situation, he was sent back to the foster mom, and the foster mom passed away, and the boy ended up in custody with the chaplain. And we still do not know if the boy has received any gender assignment surgery or hormone treatments or anything. But the silver lining is that the parents have filed an $100 million lawsuit against the Children's National Hospital. We are hoping that they win this lawsuit because they gave up everything to save their son, their thriving business, their home, just to pay legal fees. Stories like these are every parent's worst nightmare.
It's not new. We talked about this a couple months ago. There were a couple of cases out west. I think Montana. I think there was a case in California. Maybe I think New York City. This is not new. We've been saying this is going to happen more and more. The government, and by way of CPS, by way of these bureaucratic policies that institutions can make on their own and then say that they are abiding by their own policies. Look, ultimately, this is what gets me upset because many people, even on my side, talk about follow the law, follow the law. My question is, well, when the hell is it time to break the law? When is a good time to break the law? How about when it comes to children being taken from their parents for absolutely zero reason? No credible reason except that the parents disagree with whatever these fake fucking policies are that are created out of whole cloth. When are we going to stand up? When is the time to break the damn law? All laws are not good laws. All laws should not be followed. Certainly when it comes to children being what I'm calling pimped out by the government because their parents don't want them to be taught or told that they're the opposite sex. This is bull crap. You see this flag? You see these rights that the Americans want to give up? They are coming for our children right here in PG County.
Yeah, PG County, Maryland, right here. And guess what? So it turns out the woman that took the child was some worker in the hospital who's actually trans.
Chaplain, right?
Yeah, chaplain in the hospital goes by non-binary. I'm sorry. She is the one who has this child now in foster care, and has taken this child from the parents. So the lawsuit says the child is currently living with the hospital's non-gendered chaplain named Lavender Kelly, who regularly posts online about trans issues. They can't have kids of their own, so they want ours.
So look, all these black people that are saying, oh, we need black this and black that, where your black asses at now? When we got these autistic children, first of all, I'm sure the family has this boy's best or whatever it is best interest at heart. So of course we're not gonna want to give it to the foster system. These are veterans, right? Military family. So where y'all black asses at now?
Yeah, they took the boy. They
sanctioned
took
kidnapping.
But this is what they're finding as they do more and more research on this, that many people who identify as trans are on the autism scale.
Because they not right in the mind.
But this 4-year-old boy didn't. He didn't express any kind of a gender, or whatever you call it, gender affirmation.
He was autistic.
He's autistic, but he never even expressed.
No.
It's facilitated, sanctioned kidnapping. They're using the laws, and not only are they using these hospitals, whatever, or whatever other organizations, our government is helping them do it.
Yeah, that's the crazy part. The same government that y'all are so afraid that President Trump is going to change and it's going to be a dictatorship and they're going to take away democracy. This is the same government that y'all talking about.
So what laws are we supposed to follow? I mean, just because the government comes up with a law or policy, we're supposed to just, be like the 99 sheep and fall in line and follow it, or we're never supposed to be questioning it. Maybe we should leave like the number one and go and just say F the law and do, I don't know. I mean, it's frustrating. It's beyond frustrating because I'm not even a family. I can't imagine what they're going through. But this 4-year-old has literally been kidnapped.
16.
Has been kidnapped.
Yeah.
And all this money y'all giving to Kamala and white men for Kamala and black men for Kamala and all this, y'all need to be giving to the mental health institutes because this is where y'all need to be.
Well, you can't. I mean, somebody who has autism, and it depends on what part of the scale they have they have social skill issues. It's a social skills thing, and so that's why they're saying that many of them are identifying as trans because of their social skills issues. They want to identify as something. The trans people are pulling, trying to really push over the. Yeah.
This another thing that came to mind. Oh, remember a few years ago, we were supposed to follow the experts. So when you have experts saying that these kids are trans or whatever, then which expert are you supposed to follow? I mean, this is so ludicrous. I mean, my heart breaks for that family. This child who, again, from what I've read, didn't express any kind of gender dysphoria or whatever.
Until he went to the hospital.
Now, can you imagine, with his autism, can you imagine the literal trauma that he's going to experience on top of his autism? I mean, this is just
the groomers.
They groomed him in that hospital because before. That's why the parents were like,
they said he started talking.
Yeah, he started talking about being trans in the hospital because they showed them videos. They showed him read him these books, and now don't you feel like you're
this is why I've told people at 16 in most states, children can have an exam without the parent in the room, right? This is why it's important, number one, for you to teach your child before they're 16, okay, number one. Number two, you can still tell your child, I did told mine, I don't give a damn how old you are, I'm going in the room with you, okay? Whatever, it wasn't even a question, do you want me to? I'm going, number one, I'm paying insurance, so that's bottom line.
That's true.
I mean, but they can legally have a 16-year-old in the room and they can say whatever they want. I remember telling my daughter for one of her checkups when she turned 16 or whatever, and I said, well, they're going to start asking you certain questions, right? Well, if you identify as whatever. So I told her, I said, if your doctor, who's been her pediatrician for years, if your doctor asks you, well, what do you identify as? I want you to say to him, well, hell, you should know. You've been examining me for all these years. I mean, if you don't know, what the hell? And I told you to say that, exactly say that. He didn't ask her that, right? He didn't ask her that. I think he's a good doctor. He didn't ask her that. But before we left that visit, I told her to tell him what we was going to say. He fell out laughing. He said, that's a good one. He said, I believe you, she would have said that too. I said, absolutely.
Yeah. My children better not even try me. Like, our children have sense. That's the thing. I mean, not to say, I can't say that because the child is autistic in this case, but it's a lot going on in society that makes them think that they might even be gay or whatever.
The social influence.
Contagion.
Exactly.
It's social contagion now. I mean,
and that's sad.
It's clearly social contagion now. The increase in teenagers that identify as,
Alphabet.
trans, non-binary and things, it doesn't even make sense with the increase. It's social contagion.
Exactly.
Yeah, I've shared the story with you all about my son. He's 16, and we were talking about the alphabet letters, and they know how I feel about it. And they were like, well, my son said, well, I can't even really find a girl to date at school because they're all saying they're gay.
Yeah. Yeah, it's terrible.
Yeah.
It's terrible. So our thoughts and prayers go out to that family.
We should get in touch with them since they're local.
Yeah, we love to get in touch with them and have them on the show and talk about what they've gone through. I could not imagine something like that happening. I mean, it's just.
I don't know the way my temper is set up. Somebody's building got blown up or something.
Oh, of course, yes.